All right, so this is a topic that I love talking about, and I've been screaming from the rooftops on this for 15 years. And people know this in their gut. 1% is supposed to buy you alignment. You pay somebody 1%, we win when you win. What it really does is it buys access to something that's autopilot. I'm Casey Marx. I'm the founder of Crown Haven, Bull Baron, and Pinecone. I've spent 60,000 hours with real families. I've rebuilt the same portfolios I'm about to describe to you that were being charged like hedge funds, but managed like index funds that you could do yourself. I built my firms to prove that 1% should buy excellence, not what you can do yourself, and certainly not excuses from your advisor. Subscribe, share, follow me at RealCaseyAMarx on X. Let's talk about the fee that quietly erodes your investments in a major way. The 1% model, I think, and I truly believe this, began with integrity. We're gonna align interests here, but it ended up with indifference at mass scale. This is the lie. Assets under management was pitched as perfect alignment. When you win, we win. You see it in commercials. When you lose, we lose. In theory, that is elegant, and it plays off of basic human psychology. That makes sense to me. But in practice, it is broken. The model collapsed under its own weight and under two specific forces that the model refuses to admit: capacity of the individual serving you and the proportionality of the losses shared. So let's talk about capacity first. Here's why your advisor doesn't know you, or maybe why it felt like they knew you in the beginning of your relationship if you took a chance on a really small advisor, but then they became bigger. Most advisors doing assets under management are juggling 250 to 500 households. That means they can't react in real time, and God bless them if they're trying at the retail level, because it's hard. That also means they can't know your goals beyond bullet points in a CRM. So what do? They have to label you. That's what we do as human beings walking around in the world to begin with. We categorize because the world is too complex for us to handle in all of its majesty and glory. So what do? We categorize. What does any human being do? They categorize. So your advisor is categorizing you. You're conservative, you're moderate, you're aggressive, you're growth, you're moderately aggressive. And then they make sweeping portfolio changes to that category of people. They slot you into a model portfolio, the same one that 75 other clients of theirs have. This is all passive. It's run in a turnkey asset management platform. It is auto-rebalanced. You are getting exchange-traded fund and mutual fund soup. You're paying 1% to the advisor for them to throw it in a system and have them reallocate you like they do with everybody else, and you're paying mutual fund expense ratios on top of it. Translation, you're paying for mass production, not mastery, and what you thought you were getting was an actual plan at the outset. What you're really getting is what I just described, maybe a quarterly call. And the reason you accept it is because when the market performs well, everything seems like it's going okay. And when the market does poorly, you say, well, that's just the markets. And the fee gets hidden within the market losses. But that 1% fee, like I said before, is not even accounting for fund costs, administrative costs, tax drag if they're not doing it the right way, layers you never see. That's like 1% plus 0.35% plus 0.1%. Like, I'm not saying basis points because, some people don't know basis points, but 1.45% minimum total drag on your portfolio. If I were to show this to you on a chart and show you the years like 1997 to 2017, and you started with $1 million. That $1 million without fees would have grown to, like, even with the financial crisis, even with, if you were just passive in the S&P 500, it would have grown to like $3 million. With a 1.45% fee, that just got cut by like 700 grand or more, actually. It's nuts. For what? And every time that happens, every time there's a downturn, by the way, the proportionality is misaligned. Let's take an example. Let's say your advisor is managing 300 households and they have 150 million under management and they're charging a 1% fee. That means they're making $1.5 million in annual revenue. Well, first of all, that's not a lot of revenue. I know it sounds like it, but it's not a lot of revenue because if they're staffing people, they're paying them a living wage, if they're marketing their business at all, taxes for them, the business owner, let's just take it at 1.5. Let's forget all that. Let's say the market drops 20%. That's a $30 million client drawdown. For you, you could have $1 million and now your $1 million is now $800,000. And if you're in the distribution phase of your life, that's scary. You're like, holy smokes, that was like, I don't know how many years of my income that I was relying on. For you, that's fear, that's sleepless nights, that's maybe a job search at age 66. For the advisor, their revenue just dips to 1.2 million. It's an inconvenience. They're not skipping any meals. They're still taking their wife out to Ruth's Chris. There's no pink slips. They're not firing anybody if they manage their business properly, even with all the things I mentioned at the beginning. They're absorbing a fraction of the pain and none of the consequence. That is not alignment, folks. That's asymmetry wrapped in empathy. This is the reality of retail. Some people still claim to pick stocks, but nobody at the retail level, managing hundreds of families, can tax loss harvest and optimize across every legacy position, outside asset, and concentrated holding. It's impossible. There's not enough hours in the day. They can't rebalance intelligently under pressure. They're overloaded, they're over-leveraged, they're under-integrated. The only way for them to do that is to throw you in a turnkey asset management platform, which is what I described earlier. They're not portfolio architects. They're a subscription service with a face. Your life savings is the recurring revenue stream. Here's what breaks me. It just fractures me. And I see this every day. Folks come in and we do diagnostics on their portfolio. And they are consistently paying at minimum 1%. And I'm talking folks with millions of dollars, which they should be on a tiered schedule to begin with. But they're paying 1% for a 6 to 7% geometric average return. Now they don't know that because this last 3 years, and this is 2025 right now, the market's been on fire, so they've gotten 20% and 18% and 24%, so they think they're awesome. But over time, their holdings will yield a 6 to 7% geometric return because of the volatility associated with the portfolio, which leads to the fact that they have a 30 to 40% max drawdown risk, and all the while they are receiving zero tax, zero estate planning coordination. They're getting investment management that underperforms. Why would you pay for something that underperforms? Then it's being called fiduciary guidance. Technically, maybe it is. Morally, not even close, bud. So if you're paying 1% for passive, my opinion, you buy the S&P 500 index like Warren Buffett tells you to do. You'll get the same return minus the pep talk and the extra fee. Because if your 1% fee is buying you a model portfolio that is not institutionally managed, that is not what the super wealthy folks get, you are renting comfort. You are not earning extra competency, alpha, whatever you want to call it. Here's what 1% should buy. 1% only makes sense if your advisor admits, I look at the macro picture on a daily basis, I look at the geopolitical picture on a daily basis, I look at modern monetary theory, I see the debt, I see the issues in front of us, I understand planning, but even I don't have a crystal ball. So what I do is I select world-class money managers and I build the architecture, and I have the ability to be the general manager and fire each head coach. And I have the integrity to split the fee that I charge with those people to give you that institutional access because they're incredible at what they do. They have quantitative algorithms, they have sentiment indicators, they have 1,200 data inputs that they run through a supercomputer, they have qualitative analysis provided by world-class economists. They have all the things that I don't have. But that requires humility, it requires wisdom. It requires integrity. It requires a lack or an abandonment of ego, and most people don't have it because it cuts into their ego and it cuts into their profit. Behind the scenes, you ask advisors what they do all day, they're gonna say, well, To you, they're going to say, we spend our time 20% of it on meetings like this, prospective meetings with clients, and 80% of my time I'm researching, I'm servicing my current client base. The reality, 80% is on selling or putting out fires or retaining current clients that are going to another firm or doing paperwork or dealing with compliance issues. They're not searching for alpha. They're not innovating. They're playing defense. And when downturns hit, the AUM model doesn't evolve, it deflects. Ride it out. It's just a paper loss. This is a buying opportunity. Meanwhile, your portfolio is cratering. And the real optimization for that advisor is retention. Retaining you. And we haven't even talked about the tax void yet. Where's the planning? Nowhere to be found. No Roth conversions. No withdrawal sequencing, no estate mitigation, no asset location strategy, no CPA collaboration. Very rarely do you even see separately managed accounts where you're not getting dinged when a whole bunch of other people are selling, which people don't even understand that concept. Why? Because doing it right adds risk, time, energy, and folks do not get paid more to do it. So they don't do it. In reality, these folks are not managing wealth, they're managing behavior. They're managing the churn of their own client base. Here's a real story. This is my own CFO's family. Really smart family. Family member was sold a batch of front-loaded mutual funds. Front-loaded at 5% with a whole bunch of deferred sales charges. So when you get out of the mutual fund, you're also paying a fee. Terrible risk-return, asymmetry, paradigm for that person's age. Would cost them 6 figures to exit the position. The planner was an individual tax advisor moonlighting as an investment advisor, operating under suitability and farming out the investments to basically a mutual fund firm. Everyone got paid but the client. Nobody took responsibility for the results, including the person doing the taxes. We rebuilt the plan. Just like I rebuilt my mother's portfolio 15 years ago. Same story, different logo. So the question you need to ask yourself is, what are you actually paying for? If you hand over 1% of your life savings every year, because that's what you're doing, here's what it should buy. It should buy proactive optimization. Proactive, not reactive. It should buy real planning across a multidisciplinary set of needs: taxes, income, estate, healthcare, risk, legacy, and more. It should provide preemptive thinking, not quarterly check-ins. How can I help this person? Coordination of a team across those multidisciplinary channels. Coordination of the CPA, of the attorney, of the insurance, all in sync from one single point of contact. It should provide personalized attention. When people come to my firm, what they are looking for is relationship, service, trust, and subject matter expertise across a multi-dimensional wealth space. And we give it to them. One of the things they're looking for is personal attention. Someone who knows who the heck they are, what they care about, what they want. Because it's their life, it's not their money. You're not a balance. You are not the dollars and decimal points you represent on a page. And then integrity in crisis. Someone who's gonna help you even if they're not billing you. Someone who's gonna help you if you decide that you're gonna transition somewhere else. Someone who's gonna make that frictionless, because you're not paying for a portfolio. You're paying to be known, to be seen, to be protected, to be advocated for. That's the job. That's what 1% should buy. Anything less is an illusion. Here's a litmus test. Ask your advisor today, what am I tangibly getting for my 1% besides an allocation strategy? How many households do you serve personally? How are you helping me manage taxes, my estate, healthcare, insurance in my plan? For that matter, have you even talked to me about it? Do you split fees with institutional managers for better execution, speed, research? How do you measure real after fee, after tax, after inflation performance? Or are you showing me an arithmetic average? What's your plan if I'm 65 and the market drops 30% and I need to maintain my standard of living within the context of all of this? Why do you deserve 1% of my life savings every year? Don't get it twisted. This is a business relationship. You can be forthright. And if this person hesitates, they haven't earned your business. If this hit you, I hope it did. It's because deep down, you've been wondering about one or more of these, and you've been asking yourself, what am I actually paying for? And guess what? You deserve to know. Rewind, watch the litmus test, write it down, share it with somebody else who's probably, this probably amounts to everybody you know, paying 1% for something that's autopilot. And subscribe to this. Next, I'm going to expose the 3 biggest lies in finance that keep you broke. Let the truth continue to be told because it's important.